Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am so glad that you are here today. I am Kimberly Jürgen. I'm one of the founders of Genetic Edge Coaching, and this is New Awareness for New Actions. And this month's topic is Born to Wander. And this is all about the genetics of adventure and risk taking. Trust me, we're going to have some fun today. It's going to get a little personal, but it's also hopefully going to be a little mind blowing too. So, okay, y'all, we live in uncertain times. Let's just say it. There are economic shifts going on, there are global challenges happening, and there is constant change. And so many of us are being asked to adapt faster than ever before. And guess what? Some of us are actually built for that. Yay, them! Because others, not so much. But both are completely valid. So let me start with a quick story. So many years ago, I found myself standing at the edge of a major life decision where I was going to go to college. And my choice made zero logical sense, but every part of me was screaming, leap. Now, I had no clear plan. I had only visited the city once. I had never visited the school. I hadn't done any research on the school. I literally knew nothing about the school, except that my mom, when she was looking at colleges ago, that's a place she had wanted to go and hadn't been able to. And that was the only thing I knew about this place. Literally, I didn't know what their major studies were, or anything else. But I had this restless curiosity and a very deep sense of trust that I was just going to figure it out midair. And so I applied to Emory University. For some crazy reason, they said yes. And that moment changed everything. And it turns out I am not alone in this. So drop in the chat. Let me know if you have ever felt an urge to just shake things up, to take a leap, or to wander off your expected path, even if it didn't make sense. And it might not be that you do this every day. There are a handful of times where I have done something this crazy and to an outside observer, reckless decisions that truly changed my life. So this is not an everyday thing for me, but every now and then, maybe it is for you too. Or maybe it is an everyday thing for you, in which case I think that's so cool. So let's get into the genes behind that. I love it, love it. All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is the wanderlust gene, and this is the DRD4-7R gene. And people with this variant are going to be more novelty-seeking and impulsive and risk-tolerant. And it's probably evolved in us because our ancestors needed to explore new territories for survival. So if you're a traveler or a serial entrepreneur or someone who just needs change to feel alive, you might just be carrying this little legacy. Somebody who probably had it was Ernest Shackleton. He was the Antarctic explorer who could not stay still. And time and again, he returned to the most hostile environments on Earth, but not recklessly, but purposefully. And he led his crew through unthinkable challenges and survived because of adaptability and taking bold action and just having that deep trust in the unknown. And that is the DRD4-7R in action. Now, the other one is our old friend, the COMT. That's the dopamine gene. We talk about this one all the time. And it's going to influence how fast or how slow you're going to process dopamine. And that means it's going to affect how you handle stimulation and reward and even stress. So if you are a high dopamine type, you're going to tend to need more intensity to feel satisfied. Now, Amelia Earhart was probably one of these. She didn't just want to fly, she wanted to be the first. She broke records, she shattered ceilings, and she embraced those unknown skies with confidence. And her actions suggest that she probably had a higher threshold for risk and a wiring that thrived on challenge. But we are not all wired this way. And some of us prefer security over sensation. And that is just as important. Take it from Jane Austen, because she didn't explore the globe. She explored the human heart. And her genius was observation, subtlety, and structure. And she is a perfect example of how security-seeking traits can also lead to legacy, just through a different path. So, which one sounds more like you? Are you one of those, I make plans and then I break them for something more exciting? Or are you, you know what, I'd rather stick with what I know because this feels good to me? So drop it in the chat, or if you're feeling bold, unmute yourself and let's share.
I'm gonna be bold. So as I was listening to this, I know I have the COMT gene, in that I like lots of dopamine, right? Like that is how my brain functions. Interesting enough, I don't know if I have the adventure gene, but what I do know is that at a very young age, I was nurtured into an understanding that change is the only constant in life, right? Like that is the most familiar thing to me, that you are literally physically right now, life and death is happening inside you immediately, constantly, let alone the chaos that is life that we live in all of the time. So change is the only constant. And because of that, while I require, there has to be serious like bookends around familiarity and comfort. Constant change is what I drive towards. And I don't think I've ever looked at it like that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's a fun adventure in my own mind.
Yes. And I love that you talked about the nurture aspect, because that is a big piece of this too. Because as we say all the time, your genes are not your destiny. It's your starting point. So your environment, and that's going to mean like how you were raised, what was rewarded or punished when you were little. It's going to set up that system within you. Pretty much any system that you live in, it can either amplify or suppress those natural traits. So Harriet Tubman is a great example of this, because her environment was brutally oppressive. But instead of being subdued, she used her drive and her courage, and perhaps even an innate risk tolerance, to escape and then return again and again to free others. Her environment demanded fear, but her nature kept choosing freedom. So let me ask you something. Can you think of a time when you felt most alive? What were you doing, and how risky was it? Pop it in the chat, or again, share with us.
So the thing that pops immediately to my mind. Hi guys, I'm Kara. I'm one of the other co-founders of Genetic Edge Coaching. So one of the things that pops directly, that like leaped into my mind, and there are a gabajillion stories where I felt alive, but the three that came into my head were all roller coaster moments. Like where you're on the roller coaster and then the happens, and that free fall moment. That apparently I'm a thrill seeker. That confirms that.
Nice. I'm one of those folks. It's so weird. It's like I'm so much of two minds, because I love looking back at the brave things that I did, like going to Emory, like moving to Los Angeles when, again, I didn't know a single person here. I'd never been to Los Angeles. I'd never even been to the airport for a layover in Los Angeles. I literally was as uninformed about Los Angeles as I could possibly be before I moved here. And yet I did it because there was something in me that said this was the thing I needed to do. And it didn't occur to me that I wasn't going to succeed in doing it.
Yeah. Ooh. So there's a nature nurture question. I don't want to derail us entirely, but what I just heard there is that recognition that part of it was an internal drive, like this is what I need to do, but also that trust of self. That you had nurtured enough to know that whatever you were stepping into, you were going to be able to handle it. That's powerful.
Yeah. And I think the reason why I love those moments in my life so much is because I don't live every day that way.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And so there is something about those moments that become aspirational for me, about me.
Yeah.
And I think, what if I did that every day? Not like make crazy, ill-informed,
Move across country moments. Sure.
just pure spontaneous. Yeah. Although even saying the word spontaneous makes me think of like going to Edinburgh, literally last minute buying a ticket to go to Edinburgh. And I'd never been there before, traveling completely by myself. I'd never been out of the country on a trip alone before that.
Mm.
But an opportunity presented itself, and it was one of those, you have to decide right now, are you going to do this or not? And I just said yes.
Yeah. Mm. Mm. My BS. I think Edinburgh may be one of the best places in the world to say yes to those kind of things. Yeah. Yeah. Love that for you.
Yes. While I was there, I went into a little shop and they offered me a job. And there was another moment where I'm like, what would have happened in my life if I had said yes to
Yeah.
that crazy thing that just fell into my lap? It was,
Wow.
yeah, I just got to talking to the shop owner and they offered me a job on the spot. It was so crazy. Little bookstore in Edinburgh.
Oh, that is like dream aspiration.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
So is that a moment where a risk taking, who knows what would have happened? Again, forks in the road not taken.
Yeah.
But I love having those moments in my life and loving that, even knowing the decision I made
Yeah.
is where I am. I don't like cling to those
Right.
as a what if. I like to explore it from a curiosity standpoint of what if, but not as in I missed something. What if?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a different gene, but so let's get back on track. I love our tangents. We are amazing. And thank y'all for your patience there as we diverted. Welcome to the neurospicy mind. Okay, so talking about adventure. I want to be sure everybody understands adventure is not about adrenaline. It's about engagement with your life, with change, with yourself. And especially in these uncertain times, risk tolerant people are often the ones who are going to try new things. You're going to pivot faster. You're going to create bold solutions. It doesn't mean they're always going to succeed, just that these folks are willing to try. And it doesn't have to be something crazy like climbing a mountain or going to a school you don't know anything about or taking a job in a foreign country. It could be something like starting a business or saying yes to a scary opportunity or leaving something that no longer fits or admitting what you really want. And you might be ignoring your inner explorer if you find yourself feeling restless or you're daydreaming or you're procrastinating or you're feeling stuck in the routines that used to work. So what is one small adventure that you could take this weekend? Not a trip. I mean, maybe it is a trip, but it doesn't have to be. It could just be a conversation, a risk, a change of scenery. What can you commit to risking?
And engaging in is what I heard, right? Like the thing that I am holding on to right now is that adventure isn't about the adrenaline. It's not about really even the risk, but the engagement. What will you engage with this week to create that kind of adventure spirit, the curiosity, like you were talking about? What's going to spark that? I'm a digging dirt. That's my go-to. When in doubt, you need to engage more, create an adventure path in your own backyard.
Excellent.
What do you do for little micro
Um,
adventures? You say this isn't your normal go-to. So what do you do when you need that?
when I need an adventure, I because I'm also an actor. Some of y'all might not know that. And so for me, sometimes it is escaping into story.
Mm-hmm.
So I let my mind go on an adventure, and because when I am reading a book, I am living that adventure with them. And so it's so funny because when I stop reading, like I'm in mid chapter or whatever, like it lingers with me, and I have to remind myself, okay, this is my world. It's not this place that I went. My imagination can so create that as my true reality, which helps me so much as an actor, because let me tell you, film sets, there is nothing about a film set that is reality.
Yeah.
Nothing on there. There are so many things that are not what you see on camera. So as an actor, you really have to like block out the crew and the camera and the dolly and the lights and the millions of things that are going on while you are creating this intimate conversation with another human being who you might have just met 5 minutes ago. So that's one of my, and I don't know if that's nature or nurture into me, but so for me to disappear into other worlds with my mind, that's probably one of my favorite escapes. And I can do that in a second. I don't have to go anywhere or have gardening tools or anything else. I can just take that leap.
I love that. Very Bastian Balthazar Bucks from the Never-Ending Story of You. Create an entire world in a nanosecond. Love that.
Yeah. And some people would call that incredibly boring, but again, that's what makes us so freaking awesome, is that it's okay. Whatever your way of escape is, if it's physical escape, if it is emotional adventure, if it is mental adventure, like whatever it is, rock it. Just rock that. But whatever it is that's preventing you from that, that's got you feeling restless or feeling just, yeah, like you're straining at the seams, know that it's not a flaw in you. That's a signal. It's something that your body is telling you that you need to listen to. Your body is telling you it needs a shift. And if you want to call that shift adventure, whatever label you want to put on it, it needs something to change. It needs you to engage with some part of your existence in a way that you currently are not doing. And somebody who was awesome at this is Leonardo da Vinci, because he was so incredibly curious. He followed his own wild curiosity across science and art and engineering and anatomy and invention. And his life was lived in alignment with his true wiring.
Yeah.
That's why we still talk about him today. But we don't have to be Da Vinci. But you do need to know how you are built and follow your true design.
I'm being blown away right now. What is coming to my mind is the mental health walks, right? So if we're looking at our genetics at a behavioral genetic place, right, and an epigenetic impact, where we're really tangibly choosing behaviors with awareness and intention so that it impacts not only our life, our health, but also how we present in the world, right? So taking the big leap right into it, one of the most common tools around I mean, goodness, everything from mental health to and wellness to uh, dopamine and serotonin delivery to oxytocin engagement on an adventure level. one of the things that is most popularly talked about right now is like those mental health walks. Literally just taking a walk around the block. If you've been in your office all day, you're feeling antsy, you're feeling twitchy, like get up, go outside, walk around the block. And across the board, this is a behavior that consistently produces a positive result, regardless of the level of spice of any individual brain. And epigenetically speaking, behavioral genetically speaking, this tracks to this adventure conversation, right? Adventure isn't about the danger, the adrenaline. It's about that engagement. It's about that connection. It's about not being here, but being here, right? And so that absolutely makes sense. For me is impacting how not only the positive impact of it, but the importance of the intentionality. Like if you just go for the mental health walk, you're going to get some positive engagement from that. From the very least, your body's moving and that's producing proteins that your brain needs, right? Like at a baseline basic, yay. But adding that intentionality, saying, I'm going for a micro adventure, just around the block, just out to the mailbox and back, right? Like I'm not asking a lot. But if you turn that into an adventure in your brain, the kind of engagement that changes, the awareness that it impacts, and how we know that impact ricochets through your system as an electrical and chemical component. I'm just having a big oh duh moment right now.
I'm so happy. Yay. I love this when we spark each other. That's so cool. And if this sparks something in you, imagine what that shift could be if you had your full blueprint. So we have a genetic harmony course, and it's going to help you fight to stop fighting your wiring. And you're going to start thriving with your wiring. So we've got in the chat, you'll be able to check that out, explore it, ask us questions. We are here for you. But in the meantime, let's just recap all the things that we talked about today. We talked about how your genes are going to influence how you handle change, challenge, and uncertainty. We talked about how you don't have to change who you are. Just understand it and align with it. And risk isn't about recklessness. It is about response ability. Your ability to respond. And you learned some things about me that I hadn't shared before. So here's some final thoughts. The world needs both roots and wings. So whichever one you are you giving it room to grow? Thank y'all so much for being here. Stay curious, stay bold, and do not forget, uncertainty is where adventure begins. All right, we'll take some questions from the folks who are here. Those who are watching the replay, thank you so much. Drop things in the comments and we will respond. We'll see y'all soon.